Hi, this is Sparky with Theater of Dice. I am one of the DMs and moderator, and today I'm going over Owlbear basics and extensions to help new DMs learn the virtual tabletop system. Owlbear is pretty much one of the more simpler VTTs that I've learned. However, there are issues that make them different from others, but let's get started. This is basically as if I just logged in. When you make an account, all you do is enter an email. You'll get a code sent in. You put in the code. It will then ask you for a password that you want to use, and this will be what you will arrive to. If you look, I'm just using the free version, which is a nesting subscription, which will give me 2 rooms, and I have limited space for maps, tokens, and anything I've uploaded. You can always upgrade if you want, but I'm just doing it for free because I can always remove stuff if I need to. So let's get started. First things first, we need to create a room. You get 2 free rooms. This way, if you want to run 2 campaigns at once, they can still use the same tokens and maps. However, you can have them saved to where the players last left off in each room. So if team A is in, let's say, slightly further along the map than Team B, you don't have to rearrange the tokens each time. They will be saved wherever you left them off, as long as you make different scenes. I will go over scenes in a minute after I help make the room. So we can create the room. You will be given the ability to roll a name. I liked finding a funny one. The tardy milk sounds kind of funny, so if you do the upgrade, then you can type in a name, but if not, you have to generate. You can do the same thing for your background, and then you do create. When you first load Owlbear, this is what you see. There's not a whole lot. One of the things I always recommend for DMs, no matter what, is whenever someone joins a room, they are automatically given a color the first time they ever use Owlbear. Whenever they use Owlbear from then on, that color is automatically assigned to them if they're using the same account. However, I would recommend always reminding them to make sure that they are not using the same color as another player, because you will actually be able to see their marker and their arrows by their color. So if they're saying, hey, what's this over here, and they're circling it, well, you can tell who it is that's asking the question. To do the color, you simply click the button, and you can choose one of the defaults, or you can choose the plus, which allows you to customize the color, and add. So let's do that. Now the first things first is this is just the background of your Owlbear if it first loads, where there's no map. Obviously, to be able to do anything on here, we have to make one. We will go over the things on the bottom right now, but the first part that you must know is when you go to upload something, it's easier if you click the icon it goes to. So let's say we're obviously going to start with uploading a map. You want to click the mountain icon for it so it can go into the map area. Click Asset Manager, and at the top corner, Add. You will then click, and it will show you wherever you want to bring your maps to. I already saved it to a folder, so it should come to this way. Let's add a shop. Now this map already has a name, which works well. However, when let's add another map, this one does not. We'll go over that in a second. And do import. Now, first things first, you want to make sure that your maps are named, because not that you wouldn't be able to tell what it is, because I've had that issue going through my maps going, what town is this supposed to be? If you just named your maps, you'll be okay. So all you do is click the pencil icon, and it will add to the defaults. Come up here and name it. Let's name it Ship 1. Save. So now whenever I make anything, I know which map it is. This is obviously the first ship that I'm loading. Well, this one is the smith shop. Let's try out the ship. Wait. Now, obviously you can't just load a map separately, because if you try to do it, it says you need to create a scene. The purpose of that is you can make multiple scenes using the same exact map, and each tokens can be assigned to that scene. So therefore you can use it multiple times without having to worry about it interrupting a different game or a different flow. To do a scene, all you do is you go to your maps, click on the map that you want, the 3 white button down here, and create a scene. Now, I like to name the scene just in case if I have to do it multiple times. So I'll do Team A. So I know if I'm running a game with the same scene multiple times, this is Team A's map versus Team B. Now, when you say you're done, you can literally, when it's a scene, just drag it up and it will load. And this is our lovely map. Now here's the issue. Obviously you need to have something on the map. So let's add some characters. Go to Characters, which is the sword, Asset Manager, Add, Upload. I just happen to have a couple tokens already made, and let's add them. Here we go. And import. There we go. Done. Now let's check our map size compared to the token. Let's drop the elf in. Now this is supposed to be a crow's nest. Typically a crow's nest can have 2 to 3 people fit in. That means if she is taking up the whole thing, your map is not the right size needed for your tokens. So that's an easy fix. You would just go to Asset Manager, and you will want to, this is where coming up to make multiple scenes work really well, because you do Edit now. And now where I named the ship, instead I'm going to come down here to Transform. Transform will give you these little bars across the side, and if you click the little icon by it, you can start to pull your map down to make it bigger. The best way is you see the red checker marks, compare it to where things are and try to compare how the size is to a token that you want it to be. A token in a square should be 5 foot. So let's say, you know what, this looks good. Then I'm going to save the map. And delete the scene, because that scene obviously is wrong. Now we can go back and make a new scene. Again, make sure you label it if you are going to use it multiple times, just so that you can tell which one's which. Done. Let's drag it over. Now let's test the size compared to a character now. Let's drop my little elf in. Hey look, now multiple people can fit in the crow's nest. This seems like a good size map then. So now let's add some more things to our lovely Owlbear. Let's add some extensions, because with the extensions we can play with the other features. What you do is click on the left side, the 3 buttons, go to extensions. Currently it has none, because when it first opens up, anything you save will pop up here as your extensions. Instead, go click the top button. You could go by all extensions, or if you're looking for a specific type, you can click down here to find it. Let's start with adding some dice, because let's face it, sometimes D&D Beyond tries to kill us with the dice roller. So I like to add a couple dice just for my players to have multiple options if one of them is doing horrible for them. Let's add this one, and then you would click add and then swipe over to say it's activated. And let's add the bones. And rumble is always a good one, and I'll explain why. Now let's add a few more features. Let's see for tools. Doop. Now for tools, I like to do There's Rumble again because it has multiple tool features. And you can click down and see how many different types of tools. And you can always play with some. If you don't like them, just turn it off. However, the one I am looking for is not there. So I'll go to all extensions and just look. Let's see here. I like an initiative tracker because then I don't have to use a piece of paper beside me to keep track of whose initiative is what and whose order it is. This little easy extension will be able to help me with that. Let's see here. I can't get it to load, so I'm going to look up stats. Stat Bubble is one of the ones that I love to use, and I'll explain why. Because it gives you health bars and armor class where instead of you asking, hey, does a 13 hit, you can clearly see what everyone's armor class is, so you don't have to waste the time to keep asking the question. Let's see here. Let's just start with those ones for now. So then if I go here and go to extensions, this is all the ones I have saved. If you go to make another room, it will offer any of the ones that you already have saved to check them off if you want to turn them on when you first start out, or you can remove each one and add more. Click done. Now we can play with the initiative trackers up here. Let's move you up here so we can see you. Let's start with a combat. Obviously we need to add another token. Who's she going to fight? Let's give her a goblin who's attacking. So we need to add their initiative order. When you do that, you just right click, or you click on the token, you see the 3 dots, click on that, and add initiative. Obviously this is a monster, you don't want people to know their information, but let's say this is a player's token. We can do it this way. Let's say she has 42 health, she's completely healed, and her armor class is a 16. Oops. Might help if I did it right. 42, 16, and add her initiative. When you add that, it should, I don't know if it's because I'm doing it from, this also allows it so that the player can edit it or only I can. Let's do it this way. Oop. There are too many hit points. 15. Let's give her 15 out of 25 to injure. Normally it will pop up around her icon, but for some reason I'm not sure why it's not doing that. It should do it though. And it will automatically load normally. Now we have an issue with the initiative tracker. Which one is hero token 5 and which one's hero token 13? This is when it might be a good idea to start labeling things. And I'll remove them from the map to let you know. So if you go to upload, let's say a character that it's going to be reoccurring, it might be a good idea to name it. Right click on that thing, and let's name her Chaos. The reason being, now if I drag Chaos in, and then add her initiative, it will always say her name to it. However, our Gabi still has no name. We can, if you're doing it as a monster and you don't want to keep giving them names all the time, the easiest way to do it, especially if it's multiple monsters, is to go to click on the token, the text area, and let's change his name to Bob. Bob is now the initiative order. That way, if you need another monster, drop him in, add initiative, you can give him a name, and people can figure out who he is. Let's say Kyle. So Bob and Kyle are going to be the fighters. This way, the initiative tracker, the players can also add their initiative in for you, or the DM can do it to help save time. So let's say Chaos rolled pretty good. She rolled a 15 for her initiative. Bob, not so much. 3. Kyle, let's say, has an 11. It will automatically organize it to which goes first. Now let's say Cass takes her turn. She rolled a 15, or she had a 15 initiative. So I'll do her attack, and then, okay, now whose turn is it? Let's click over. Now it's Kyle's turn. We keep track and change for each person as they go for their turn. You can then, let's say, she shot Bob and she gave him to do. Oops, forgot one. There's another extension that I like to add that I forgot about that may help in this case. Condition markers. Let's add that. Let's say she shot Bob. Click on do the little edit thing, and she's poisoned him. Let's add him a condition marker. Let's see here. Exhausted, blinded, deafened, poisoned. Now Bob has a little icon by his so we can keep track that Bob is still poisoned. So let's say in Bob's turn, Bob cures the poison. All you do is go back, initiative tracker, and turn off. Let's say someone did something really nasty and managed to do multiple things, like blind, deafened, frightened, paralyzed. If you look, all of them will appear above him, so we can keep track of how many turns he has those conditions. That's really helpful for the DMs to always be able to keep track of which NPC is hurt and which one's not. With the bubble, which I don't know, again, I don't know why it's not working, because I do know it's working elsewhere. It might be because I'm doing the live stream thing. Normally you will be able to right click and just edit in the hit points, so you could just subtract whatever the damage is. That helps you as well, especially if there's a healer player, because they know which players need health and healed quicker. Now let's add the rumble feature. The rumble feature is a lovely feature that both has a dice roller, which is really complex. I do not recommend you use it unless you play with it enough. Or the reason I use it is the fact of, let's say you're playing using Owlbear as your, VTT, your main source, and you're using, let's say, Discord or Zoom or something for voice. Obviously, you don't want to have to scroll back and forth between different tabs to, answer questions or anything. Well, this way, all your players can literally just click down and say, "Hey, normally if there's multiple people in the room, you can then click down and add who you're whispering to. Like, say, Sam's in my room. I can then click down to Sam. So therefore, let's say I tell Sam, roll perception, because all the other players are talking. Sam rolls. He whispers to me his answer. The other players can still do their thing, but they don't know what's going on. Then I can whisper to Sam, going, "Hey, you hear wolves." This also allows you to, in case you need to talk to everyone or one person, like say, "Hey, I need to be right back. I need to go to the bathroom." You can just, quickly type in, and everyone gets the alert. The other feature is these lovely exclamation points, check mark, and wave. The X means we need to stop the game. It will show up on everybody's screen and stay up until it's turned off. Check mark means, or the exclamation point means, hey, I need attention. Maybe it's I'm not paying attention to a Rumble thing and someone sent me a message and I need to look. Wave means you have a question, so therefore, hey, everyone sees we need to pause. Okay, who's the question for? Okay, ask it, and then we go back to the game versus just randomly blurting out while people are playing or anything. It's very good for the taking turns method, like we learned in school. Bones allows you to. The reason why I had this is allows a secret DM thing. So let's say I tell a player to roll a d20. I don't tell them what it's for, but I don't want anyone else to see the roll. They can click that, click the exploit. Uh-oh. They rolled a 1. Only me and them know about it, so that way it's a secret roll. Dice itself, the reason I love using this one is, for the player it's going to appear up here. For the DM it will appear in the bottom corner for you. Their roll will show you it. So let's say I need to roll stealth. I will roll a d20, and let's say my modifier is a +4. I can also choose to do disadvantage or advantage. Let's say she has advantage. You would click this, roll, and it will tell you 21 is the highest number. It won't tell you, it doesn't add it together. It would do 17 plus 4 is 21, which would be the highest one for advantage, versus obviously the 4 would have, with +4 would be 8, which would fail. To clear your dice tray, just click that and it's done. Now let's go over some of the map features. Let's say I am not wanting my players to see the basement of this boat, because obviously it's not there. Oop. All you do, doop. Why is it doing that? This is allowing you to, with the fog, make a fog setting. And it will doop, let you cover up parts of the map. To remove the fog, you then use the scissors, and you can cut it back out. Normally. I don't know why it's not doing that for the streaming, but usually it has no issues doing this. Oh, that's why, because it's in multiple settings. Make sure you are very careful with that, because you can do it by settings. So let's say I am going to, block out this basement. They can't see it. I will fog it out. If you want to see what they see, this is what they see. They just see a black box until you cut it back out. However, as a DM, you can also make it so that it's transparent. So therefore, if you want to hide some, let's say, Bob is hiding in here, they can't see Bob until they open the door and you cut it out. And now they see Bob. The hand allows you to drag your map around, as well as clicking on tokens and dragging them around. The drawing tool allows you to actually draw on the map. It will add to a different layer, so if you want to remove it later, like say, someone's like, hey, I want to be able to look, escape from the boat, but I don't know where there's anything on the boat. As a DM or player, you can sit there drawing on the map going, there's a rowboat right there. Or do you want to point out to something to someone going, hey, yeah, I'm right here. You could do that. If you don't want it there anymore, you can click on it afterwards with the hand setting and delete it off your map. The measurement tool, if your map is sized properly for you, will actually allow you to tell how far a distance is. So let's say, Chaos's movement is 30 feet. She wants to get to the crow's nest. Using this, so she can get right underneath it but not up there in her movement turn. Pointer is why it's about, which is the little raindrop over here, is why it's about having everyone do a different color, because instead of drawing on it, you will have a little circular dot following your mouse around to let people know. Text allows you to type onto your map different things. However, since the font is very small, I normally do not do that. I went over those extensions. Let's say you want to add a pet. Let's say Cass has a pet puppy. Obviously the puppy is not the same size of her, so what you do to resize the token is you grab the little arrows down and shrink him to puppy size. Let's say Kyle casts a large person, so he's larger. Do the opposite. Drag it and make him bigger. Let's say she wants the puppy to, follow her always. there's a lovely thing that you can do where you hang it off of her token, you click on your token, do the 3 dots, and go attach. Oop. Sorry, the puppy is attached to her, because make sure it's attached to whoever you want the main token to be. So attached to her. So that means anytime I move her token, puppy moves. However, puppy can move by himself too. That's why it's important to make sure whoever you're, like, say the puppy is attached to her but can move separately, make sure you choose who's attached to who, because they're not, then whenever a puppy moves, she moves. Let's see here. What other features would like to be covered? Props. There is some lovely things that you can add on here. Let's do props, or not props, conditions. Let's add some. Sometimes you will find some freebie add-on conditions and stuff that the Owlbear lets you have for free. I'm trying to figure out. Sometimes Owlbear will have some lovely things for free. Let's check if it's integrated. Nope. Yep. The storage settings let you know how much room each thing is taking up and your maximum usage. When you're done, and let's say you don't need this map anymore, you need to free up space, click on the map, delete it, and therefore now you have more room for that. So if you run out of room, you can just delete things that you don't need anymore. Attachments. There it is. If you're wanting, the attachment is a great feature that you can, that they have some that you can find for free, or you can make your own. This way, you know how there's like the condition markers, these are bigger so people don't want to see, can't see it. What you do is you click add attachment and go to starter set. Let's give some default starters. And give them some status rings. Say, you know what, I want add, you can add all or only add a couple. I'll add all. That way, let's say, let's bring Bob came out. Obviously, the little icons around Bob is not so easy to see, so let's say, but instead of, this works for if they have multiple conditions. Let's say he only has one. Then you could do this and drop it on top and say, hey, Bob's invisible. You can't see him. You may have all those other conditions, but he's invisible, and the invisible part is all you can see. You can only have, obviously, one visible ring at a time versus the status bar, which allows you to have multiple status updates and conditions. Let's add some more freebies. Characters. You know, obviously uploading and making your own tokens can get kind of tiring and finding them. Well, there's also, if you go to add, there's the starter tokens. The starter tokens are just icons meant to represent a default thing. I usually use it in my campaigns that if they're in a map like, say, a tavern. If the NPC has no information, you know, just a generic, think about like video game passerby going, you know, I took an arrow to the knee once type stuff. These would be the tokens I use because, you know, it doesn't stand out or anything. Or if I'm doing like a mass battle, but you know they have no options to really care what it is, drop some token in saying, hey, you know, let's say you're all fighting undead. Here's some undead tokens. You don't have to have a certain undead, but that way you have a generic token if you don't have the ability to make some or find some already made. There are certain other ones that sometimes have free things. So it's always good to check what they have for free. Because I believe they even just added some basic maps, which just gives you water, land, grass, and you would have to add other features to it. Props. Let's add the default prop settings, which help you, because these are radius things. Let's say she's casting let's say, cone of fire or a cone of ice. Obviously, it's not that far of distance. If you click on it, when you're resizing, it will tell you how far a distance it is from her. Let's say it has a 5-foot range. There you go. And you could drag it to wherever it is. That little rounding thing allows you to change the angle it is, etc. So we know, when she's casting Cone of Frost, it's going to hit him if he's in the radius. I also sometimes use it for players in case they're in a zone, like say silence ring. Obviously these ones, there isn't a silence, it's ice, fire, or lightning, but I can still sit there going, that's not actually ice. Let's say it's a 60 foot or 30 foot. This area is now silenced. So this is helpful for you to keep track of those rings and have it already pre-shaped for you. Alright, let's add one more map, and we can set up a map to use to explain how to set up scenes and leave it for later. So let's add our smith shop again. Import. Obviously we need to create a scene for it, so click on it, go here, create a scene. Now let's drag our scene over. And this would be like prep work before the game, so therefore when players are ready to play and you automatically load the scenes going, this is what you see when you walk in. Let's give this will be setting up that scene for those players. So let's use a shopkeep here, and let's give him a smithy over here working on stuff. Let's give it 3 kobolds buying some things. Obviously kobolds are small size, so let's shrink them a little bit so they're 3 feet tall. And they're going to be looking at merchandise together. Now, this is a basic scene setup, so then when, let's say, you guys are, still on the boat, arriving to town, and someone says, hey, let's go check out the smith shop. When you load it in, it's already ready to go. They can either then drop their own tokens, or you can drop their tokens. Let's bring chaos in to shop, and they can look around the shop, see where it is, investigate things, make new friends, talk to players, and you can have the scene already set up before the game starts for the DM. If you want to have tokens that can come in, this is a suggestion that I do, but they're not currently there. I like to have, let's add some tokens. Oops, wrong thing. Characters. Let's say Bob is going to join the shop later, but he hasn't got there yet till the condition has, and Bob brought his pet wolf. Instead of letting them see them outside, if you click on the token and then do hide, I can see that they're transparent, but other players will not see it, whoever's seeing my screen. So therefore I can, let's say Bob successfully sneaks in. He sneaks, over here, and nobody sees him. He's still invisible, but his token moves. His dog, not so much. So, boop, everyone sees the wolf come in. This way I can still pay attention where invisible characters are or sneaky characters are, and they're already on the map ready to go, but the players don't know they're there, so that's always a great option. Let's see here, what else do we need to cover? Cover names. Let's say Bob finds a way to clone himself. He casts, let's say Bob's an Echo Knight. He's an Echo Knight goblin. Echo Knights need to summon their Echo. If you click on Bob's token, and then do the little square with dots, you can make him a clone. So there's Bob's Echo. Just make sure you label him so you know which one's Bob and which one's Echo. Because obviously an Echo only has one hit point, and you want to make sure that you can keep track. Let's see here. Over that, we went over that. If there's any other questions people have for Owlbear, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I will answer them as best as I can. Again, this is just the basic tutorial on how to use it and helpful extensions that may help beginning DMs. There's a lot more to it that you can play with, including how to attach character sheets and everything else to your tokens. Just that's a little bit more advanced. Just like you can find a way to do the mounts and everything else. It's not needed for basic play, however, but it's always good to just play around with it. Have fun. You never really know what you're going to find while you play with Owlbear until you try out different extensions, expansions, and everything else and see what happens. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful, and you can reach out for me at any time. Thank you.